welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Marotta, host of the podcast, and welcome, friends. Proud member of the Education Podcast Network, VoiceEd Radio Canada, wherever you're taking in your podcast. Appreciate you tuning in here live. Leave us a positive comment. Send the show to somebody else. That's how we continue to grow. That's how we continue to get eyes on the podcast, and we appreciate it. And not only eyes, but certainly your hearts, looking to inspire and fill your hearts and fill your pockets with things that you could use here. So a quick word from our sponsor, IXL. If you are in schools, you have most likely heard about IXL. If you haven't, give a click on the show notes. Here is a word from IXL. Hey friends, Andrew Marotta here, Surviving and Thriving. And I want to thank today's sponsor for the podcast, IXL. Discover the power of data-driven instruction in your school with IXL. It is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It gives you everything you need to maximize learning, from a comprehensive curriculum to meaningful school-wide data. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments, including NWEA, MAPS, STAR, iLearn, just to name a few. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your school towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, I want to thank IXL for sponsoring Education, Leadership, and Beyond. All right. Thank you for that. And thank you for listening. Let's get started. We are going to meet Creighton Jaster in just a minute, coming to us from LAMAR, Texas. He's got a big night. I carved out 40 minutes with him to be able to get this conversation. And I'm excited to talk with him, learn from him, and just talking. Here's a guy from New York and here's a guy from Texas, and we have a lot in common. So we will bring Creighton in just a moment. So the opening concept, just show up. I was at an event recently and someone said to me, "Oh, I'm glad I could just show up." And I kind of heard that, and it just, I don't know, it stuck in my ear, just show up, right? That's all you want to do. You're not adding, you're not bringing anything, right? You could always do something, a smile, a high five, a hug, versus just showing up. We're not taking up space, right? We're not filling the air. So in the work we're doing in schools, whether you're in business, whether you're in the medical field, right? We got to do more than just show up. We can't just show up and expect things to happen. We want to get our hands dirty, roll our sleeves up, and be part of the work that is happening. So in addition, to showing up, let's bring our best selves. Let's bring our gifts and talents and make things happen with where we are. If you are watching the show live, jump in, say hello. Let us know if you're coming to us from Texas or here in the Northeast or wherever you are in the country tuning in live, and maybe you have a question for Creighton and myself. But enough of me chit-chatting. Let's bring Creighton in from LAMAR, Texas. Creighton, welcome.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I am thrilled. I'm surviving and thriving, and I'm happy to be talking with you. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's been a great week and great 4 weeks of school so far. So we're just trucking along.
You got a month in, and we just opened the doors here in New York.
Yeah, no, we've been in full-fledged for 4 weeks. It's great. So probably the best start of the school year we've had to date for a while now. So kids are good. Kids are in. They're thriving. They're doing minimal hiccups. Just living life now, man. It's back to normal.
Good for you. Friends, this is Creighton Jaster, again, coming to us from Texas. We got to connected on social media and talked about a few different things, and then boom, we got him here. But Creighton, you've been a leader in LAMAR for a long time, 16 years, and you have a new position this year. I love the title here, Director of Innovative Learning. Whoever made the title gets a +1 there. But tell me about this new role you're in and some of the things you're excited about.
Yeah, so as Director of Innovative Learning, I kind of oversee, I say, the fun stuff of education to an extent. I've got 4 key buckets that I control or oversee. I oversee digital learning, and so all of the the digital learning that kids do in the classroom through programming or whatnot. My team oversees and takes care of. We train, we come and model, we do whatever you need us to do. So we get kids engaged in the learning process from the digital world and integrated into just the physical side. I then take care of library services for the district. That's a hot word, right? Libraries are a hot word for everybody. I have a wonderful team there that we oversee all the libraries here in the district and how we are transforming libraries from just being a place to read, but a place to learn, whether it's through Makerspace, the world of Makerspace, or the traditional world of let's read a book. So we do that. I then have instructional coaching. So each one of our campuses has 1 to 2 instructional coaches that help the campus grow in their capacity. And so I get to oversee them and teach them coaching strategies and what that looks like and how to impact learning. And then the last thing I do, which is probably my biggest umbrella, is I handle all professional learning here in the district. And so getting to see kind of trends and things that are happening across the nation, across the state, and what we need to do to impact not only students, but how am I impacting teachers? How am I impacting principals? How am I impacting assistant principals? How am I impacting the superintendent in his office? What can I bring to the district that will impact everyone, not just one? And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I then oversee things like we are a district of innovation, so we kind of have some unique things that we oversee due to that. And then I get to just kind of explore. My boss has been really open and saying, "Hey, Creighton, go find the fun stuff and let's talk about it." Wow. Off the table. And so I do explore. Some things come out great and some things flop. But if they flop, we learn from them and we move on and we tweak and keep going. So
Creighton, as a building leader, which you did for many years, coaching, the bell runs the day. You're going here, this period, you're going there, the bell runs the day. Now that you have some different jobs here, and I love how you describe them in the buckets. How do you design your day that you can fill each bucket a little bit with some of the work you're doing?
Yeah, I think it's all about prioritization. The same thing as a building principal, right? Like we had our list and we had our sticky notes or whatever you had, and you had a perfectly planned day, and everything always implodes every day, right? It always implodes, and you just kind of figure out what's the most important at that present time. And so for me, typically it's what is key in my work right now. So like I can tell you, like right now I'm in the thick of crucial conversations with upper admin and teaching them how to have proper crucial conversations with staff members. But I'm also at the same time working on PLCs with campuses and what that looks like. And I just kind of juggle what I can. And if I can't, you know what? There's another day tomorrow. And so, family comes first. I come into work, I do the job. And then at 4:30, I say, you know what? Now it's time to take that hat off and put the dad hat back on and go do that. There's nothing that I do now that consumes me so much that I can't figure it out and get it all done in a good time frame. As a principal, I was always juggling due to that last minute fight that happened, or whatever my boss called me at the last minute to do. And here it's what do I want to do that's fun? And if I'm not having fun, Andrew, then I cut my computer off in my office. I get in my truck and I go to a campus and I play on a campus for a day. And that's okay too, because you have to remember that what you're doing it for. And I'm doing it for kids, right? Everything I do is for kids. And so if I'm not having fun sitting in my seat in my office and prioritizing those things with my team, it's time for me to go get a reality check and go back to where it all starts. And that's with kids, whether they're giving me a hug or making me run. I don't care what it is. Let's go do it.
That is awesome. Good for you. Finding the joy in the work, the word innovation. We certainly need that in our world, right? These jobs that kids are going into, AI, so much there. But Creighton, you mentioned about being a father first. We talked off air a little bit. You're juggling duties tonight. Your son has a JV football game, but you're going to the varsity game with the band on the road trip. You and your wife juggling. You gave a lot early on as a principal, where you said that you missed some things. You missed events with your family because you gave so much in your school. And again, you're still capturing it while your kids are teenagers here. Tell me about that shift where you said, "Hey, man, I got to make sure that I'm the dad. I need to be first, instead of getting pulled in all these directions as a school leader and missing out with my own children."
Yeah, one of the things was God has blessed me in every job that I've been in. But he put me where in a place I never thought I would be, which was in a Title I campus. And I realized early on in a Title I campus that those kids needed me more than I needed them. And sometimes I needed them more than they needed me. But I would give and give and give. And so my life became, if somebody else isn't going to just show up, like you said, then I would be there for them. And so in doing so, I missed a lot of my own kids' lives because the job will consume you. Anyone who sits in this seat or sits in a principal chair knows that this job will consume you completely if you allow it to. There's always going to be another event. There's always going to be another thing. There's always going to be somebody needing you. There's always going to be a monkey on your back. And so about 2 years ago, I had some heart issues, and I was trying to figure out how to get to my son's stuff so much, Andrew. And he looked at me and he said, "Dad, why are you fighting so hard?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, you've missed 16 years of my life already. What is another thing?" And that's hard to hear, right? Like that's the kind of knife in the back that you need to feel because you don't realize it. And I hadn't. Like I thought I was still doing a good job being a dad. I thought I was doing everything I could. I was there when I could be. I was doing everything I could, but I wasn't where he thought I was, right? And so you have to kind of shift those priorities a little bit, right? And now there's not a day that goes by that I don't just drop what I'm doing and go do my kids. Like,
I hope that wasn't your son there now calling you.
No, it wasn't. It was actually a principal. That's what the principal told me. Imagine that. But you've got to get to the point in this career, and as educators, we've got to be okay with saying, "My family comes first."
Yeah, amen to that.
This is a job, and I love the kids that I work with, but at the end of the day, if I were to die, this job will get filled. The dad job won't.
Yes.
And so you just got to shift those priorities then. So.
Yeah. If you're watching the show live, please jump in and say hello. Creighton, I love that point. Give you a shout out here. And again, a shout out to your kids, Lucas, Samuel, and Anna Kate. I love the spelling of Kate there. And good for you for making that shift and listening to your son. And that, that was a beautiful story of something that hit home. 16 years at LAMAR, Creighton. You were in business before education. Yeah, tell me about that shift and what drew you to come and be an educator.
So I have a degree in biomedical science. I thought I was going to go to med school. I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. I thought I was going to do that the rest of my life. God is funny, right? God has plans for us that we all think we know, and he doesn't, and then he laughs at you. I met my wife in college. She was in education, and she quickly told me that wasn't going to work for her, me going to med school. And so I shifted the world. And so I said, well, you know what? Let me do something else. Let me go into sales. And so I went into what I thought was going to be pharmaceutical sales, and it was not pharmaceutical sales. I ended up in liquor sales. And so for 2.5 years, I worked for Crown Royal, which is completely a crazy gig. It was so much fun. We got pregnant, and she said, I don't think you can be the booze dad. I need you to be the dad. And so I did some home sales stuff after that, just kind of bounced around doing some other sales stuff. And then one day my best friend called me and said, Creighton, what are you doing? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're bouncing around from sales jobs. You're great at it, but you're miserable. And I said, yeah, but what the heck am I going to do? Like, there's nothing else for me to do. I have a degree in biomedical science. And he said, why don't you go teach? And I said, if I teach, my wife will divorce me. And he goes, no, she won't. Just go teach. And so I jumped in feet first. She was mad for quite a while because she realized that her dreams of ever staying at home and being a stay-at-home mom were shattered completely. But she quickly saw and understood that this was my world and my passion, right? And so taught for 5 years, taught and coached, absolutely loved it. 7th grade is the best grade to ever teach in the entire place in education. I know people will think I'm crazy for saying that. They're young enough that they still want to love you and hug you and tell you you're the best, but they're old enough to miss your humor a little bit or get your humor at the same time. And I did that, and I would never look back, ever look back.
Wow, what a great story, Creighton. I love hearing that and the twists and turns. So, what are some things now that you took from the business field, the sales, that you use in leadership in schools, right? You have to speak, you have to connect with people. There's a lot of skills. What are some that you're taking from the sales that you use now in education?
One of the biggest things that I think I've told teachers, anybody that I've ever worked with, is that I can teach anybody the skills to teach. I can't teach you to love people. And so sales is all about making that connection, that instant, what happens in 30 seconds, right? And I tell them, you have 30 seconds with me. If I don't catch something in 30 seconds, I'm likely not to keep following you. And it's true in everything I've done, in how I interview for people for jobs, how I interview people for jobs. It's 30 seconds is what you get with me.
Wow.
Because you can feel it in your gut. And if you don't feel it in your gut, you got to go. And so that relationship is key. And that's the same thing that I build now to this day. Like, I will spend more time building relationships with kids than I will worrying about the content. The content will come. The scores will happen. You got to build the relationships with kids and make sure that they love you and that they know you love them. And then they'll give you whatever you need on the back end. It's the same with adults. Like, adults are no different. They're just big kids. And we've got to do the same things. We have to nourish those relationships, and then they'll start to do whatever you ask. But the key to all of that, though, still, Andrew, is that you have to model what you preach. And so there's not one job that I haven't been in that I'm not willing to jump into somebody else's shoes to show them that I'll do their job too. So when I was on campus, I would vacuum and I would mop. I'm not above doing that. I'd go clean a bathroom because the custodian needed help. I'd go serve in the cafeteria line if I needed to serve in the cafeteria line. I do my secretary's answering of phones. You got to show people that they matter. And the only way you can do that is to show them that their world matters too. And you're willing to do the exact same thing they're doing.
Love it, Creighton. Great points there. Really nice to hear that. You know, I listen for the word love in the interview, right? Hearing how they're going to love the kids, not in a creepy way, but in the way, like you said, that the kid can connect with, because then they'll go do that homework because they love their teacher. So,
you know, one of the things that I made a point, Andrew, as a principal, is in my morning announcements every day, I would tell kids, if no one's told you they love you today, Mr. Jaster loves you. Go have a great day.
Wow.
And whether they believe it or not, they heard it. And that's impactful, right? And so it's funny because kids, when I weren't at school, would come to me and go, hey, Mr. Jaster, you not love us today? And I'd say, what are you talking about? Well, you didn't say you loved us yesterday. They didn't realize I wasn't at school. So they thrived on hearing that they love you. And so when you can do that for a kid and they start to feel that, you know, you've done something good. So.
Awesome story there. Again, this is Creighton Jaster from Texas. Big night tonight, the Texas high school football. Please leave us a question or a comment in the chat. Creighton, we were talking off air, a lot of similarities in our lives, our wives, 3 kids, and where we are in our careers. How do you continue to take care of yourself? You mentioned you can't be replaced as a dad, and we want to be there for all those events. What are some things that you do to lead a healthy lifestyle and again, model that behavior that you're talking about in terms of your health and your wellness as a dad and a leader?
Well, you know, I would tell you that I'm not good at it, or I wasn't good at it. The past couple of years, I've gotten better. So 3 years ago, I did end up in the hospital. I was not in a good place. And so I had to do some shifting in what I do. So You still got to work out. You still got to eat right. You got to do all those things. Luckily for me, my wife and kids, they love to hike. And so our vacations are centered around camping and hiking, getting in Mother Nature, cutting off the cell phones. That's a big one, right? Getting that aspect out of your life is the best. And then just being one with nature and spending time with them. I thrive on my kids and my family. And so getting to do that helps. And then truly, I've gotten to the point where I realized that it is true. They will fill this position before I'm in the ground. And so it's okay for me to say no, or maybe not no, but not now. It's okay for me to say I need to take a break. It's okay for me to say I'm not in a good place. And I think as leaders, as educators, so often we are scared to say that we need a break or that we need some time. And so if I need to take a mental health day, I'm going to take a mental health day. If I need to go, like I said earlier, and play on a campus, I'm going to go play on a campus. And so for me, it's about prioritizing and realizing what's important, and what I used to think was important and what I love. Those are two different things. I love kids and I love education, but it's not always the most important thing there. And the most important thing is what I'm doing to make sure that I'm around for many, many years for my own kids and for the people that love me the most, so that I can still provide for them while providing for others.
Amen to that. Creighton, we started a new student management system here in Port Jervis, and it's a change. And change in schools and education and routines is hard for people. And you're in a new position, and you might have some different ideas on learning, right? The director of innovative learning. How do you implement change? How do you say we're going to go from doing A, B, and C, and now we're doing X, Y, and Z? And people, what? How do you implement change in your job?
I think it's two different things. Sometimes it's like gambling in Vegas, and I'm gonna explain that. So sometimes it's jumping feet first and just letting it happen, like just coming up with a crazy idea, not knowing if it's going to work completely at all, jumping in and just watching it happen, and then making tweaks along the way. Our superintendent says it's okay to take risk. It's okay to fail. You make a tweak and you keep moving forward. And so sometimes that changes is that. And I balance what things will do that. Other times it's me putting the right people on the bus and getting them to drive and help get that bus moving, right? One of my biggest kind of mentors that I like to live by is Ron Clark. I don't know if you know Ron Clark. You probably do, right?
1% Better is his latest book.
It is. Move that bus. Move your bus is something that I live by. You have your runners and you have your joggers and your walkers, and I like to say you've got your backseat backward drivers, right? You've got all those people, and so for change, it's finding your runners that will then run for you and speak for you.
Nice.
And so I'm not going to be the one that gets Sally, the second-year teacher, to do it, but Johnny, the veteran teacher on our campus who believes in what Creighton has put together and what Creighton has driving down the pipe, he's going to get her to do it, and because they're going to believe each other more than me, right? And so it's really trusting in the people that trust you. It's kind of just finding the right people is really it. It takes committees. It takes accepting feedback. I used to not think that. When I first became a principal, Andrew, I made the biggest mistake in the world as a first-year principal, and I knew what was going to need to happen, and I was going in and I was going to make change, and I was going to just hammer through. And by January, I was sitting in my office crying as a grown man because everything had gone to hell in a handbasket. And I didn't know what was going on. And the biggest thing was I wasn't willing to listen to feedback and listen to what they were having to say. And sometimes you have to be smart enough to take a step back and go, okay, I'm implementing something, but what are they saying about it right now? and then making tweaks to the plan to make it work. Your people are your most powerful assets. And if you're not willing to listen to them, then you're just a dictator. And I never want to be a dictator. I want to be somebody that helps improve the system and helps you grow as an educator. And so therefore you got to listen to them.
I almost hit the mute button. I thought you were not going to say the end of the word dictator and only say the first part. I said, oh, hey.
Got you, brother. Don't worry.
Yeah. Hey, no, that was a great answer there. I love it, right? But sometimes you just try it, right? Let's do it. Let's see how it works. And then other times we got to plan slowly, move forward. So I like a little bit of both. Sometimes it's a sprint. Sometimes it's a marathon. So great answer there. Creighton, I know you got a hard exit here. You got some important duties tonight. And again, you weren't talking about something for the job. You were talking about being there for the band tonight with your son. And I love that was a priority. But my message is surviving and thriving, right? That's kind of my mindset, my motto. I'm going to take the word "and" out, Creighton. And now I got a blank there. What is that habit? What is that mindset? What's that word? What is that action that you're putting in there for you to be thriving in your role as a leader and a dad?
I think there's power in the word "yet," Andrew. And I live by that. So often I think we leave "yet" out. But if you actually think about "yet," I'm not doing that yet. I'm not going to get to it just yet. I'm not the man I want to be yet, right? There's power in "yet." And so for me, I think it is really evaluating, what is my capacity as a person? And can I accomplish it? And the answer is maybe not right now, but maybe yet, right? And so I've got to be okay with that. And so are kids going to be their best? Are they right now? No, but not yet. And so I think it gives people hope with the word "yet."
Yeah.
And I think it gives you hope with the word "yet." I used to think that I was a bad leader. And Christy said, "You're just not the leader you want to be yet, Creighton. And you got to be okay with that." And I wasn't. I was really hard on myself. And so even in this new role, am I where I want to be yet? No, I don't know that I am. I think there's a lot to this role that I can still improve upon and grow from. But as long as I keep kids in the forefront of my mind and what's best for kids and how to grow other people, yet is yet to come.
Great answer. I got Creighton Jaster on the program. I don't have Christy Jaster on the program yet. She sounds like a educator there. And a shout out to your wife for giving you that beautiful advice. Creighton, anything you wanted to share that I didn't ask you?
I just think that as educators, we have to take back our profession, right? We've allowed in a lot of ways the profession to be undermined and
disrespected.
Right. And I think we as educators finally need to start saying, this is a profession that we're proud of, and without us we can't do the rest. I mean, you can't be a doctor without having a teacher first, and so all these other fields happen because of what we do. And I think the other bit to that is that we have to shift the narrative in the world that yes, we're taking care of your babies, but you have to allow us to do our job, and it's okay to let us do our job. And you don't get to make the answers and the decisions, and you don't get to do that because you don't get to do that for the doctor that's prescribing the medicine for you. And that's a narrative that I wish and pray that all educators finally get on the same page on, and we move that forward. I also think that, I said it earlier, but we as leaders have to be okay with saying we need to pause and not burn ourselves out, because we give and give and give, and we never think about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. We've got to be okay with ourselves in saying that. And so,
great answer there. Thank you for that, and thank you for recognizing the educators that deserve that respect, have earned that respect. And I agree with you. Taking back education and promoting it for what it is. It's an amazing career, and certainly special for our kids and educators out there. So thank you for that. Creighton, let's get to rapid fire because I know you got the U-Haul truck ready to go. It's running for you outside. Good luck to your son tonight. These are fast questions, quick answer. First thing that comes to mind, are you ready?
Go.
Here we go. Last book you read?
Learn by doing. I'm a PD nerd. I know it's crazy, but it's learn by doing.
It's one of the buckets, of course.
It is. It's one of my buckets.
Last movie you saw?
Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine with my 18-year-old son.
My son said it was incredible.
Not one that I would take my wife to go see, but my 18-year-old son who loves Marvel movies, yeah, great.
Last concert you went to?
Oh, George Strait.
Favorite dish?
Anything Asian.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I know my wife cracks up all the time. She's totally loves Mexican food, and I can't stand Mexican food, but it's always Asian. If I'm gonna do it, we're going Asian.
Beautiful. Favorite place to travel?
Oh, Montana, Glacier National Park area.
Oh,
I think that is like God painted that area, and that's the best place to ever go.
Beautiful. Favorite singer?
Oh, of course, George Strait. I already said that.
Okay, so that's my answer. What's your karaoke song?
Anything George Strait.
You're in Texas. You got a lot to choose from. I know you're an Aggie. So outside the Texas A&M Aggies, who's your sports team?
I'm gonna support my Texans if we're talking football, just because we live in the area. Even though the Dallas Cowboys signed CD Lamb and I taught CD as a 7th grader.
Wow.
It's still probably going to be the Texans just because.
Local.
And then of course I'm always going to take care of my Houston Astros. Those are my peeps. So.
Hey man, as long as they keep taking those signals from the Yankees, they'll be fine.
That's it.
They've had a good run there. Do you own a lot of Creighton University sweatshirts?
None at all.
Really?
Honestly, though, when I was in high school, I did apply to Creighton University. I did get in, and then I saw how much it costs to go to Creighton, and I said, nope, not doing that.
Keep it moving. What's a pet peeve of yours?
Oh, pet peeve. Saying one thing and doing another.
Ooh, good answer. At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
Blessed. Because I'm with my kids and my family.
One thing you're curious about?
Ooh, how education became so disvalued over the years, and will that ever change? Yeah,
it's going to change because of people like you that are elevating. What's your favorite part of the school day?
Ooh, lunch.
Yeah.
It really was, and it still is. Like, that was the best place to get to know my kids.
Yeah.
And to love on them the most. And so we had jamming with Jaster, and I'd play music and just have a blast in the cafeteria. It's best.
Something about Creighton Jaster that people do not know about.
I was Captain Morgan.
In more ways than one.
There you go.
Creighton, this is great. Coming to us from LAMAR School District. Can they find you on the website there? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they wanted to contact you, learn from you, or get involved with the work you're doing?
Yeah, always an email, crjaster@lcisd.org. Or you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or X. It's all at Creighton Jaster. I'm always here to help in any way, even if it's just listening. So,
not too many other Creighton Jasters out there.
There's none.
It's a cool name. Friends, this is Creighton Jaster again, coming to us from Texas. I wish you the best, Creighton. This was a lot of fun. I'm a quote guy. I love quotes. You dropped some good lines today. You have a quote we can end with.
Yeah. I have no special talent. I'm only truly passionate. Oh, hold on. Rewind it. No special talent. I'm only passionately curious.
Ooh.
And that was Albert Einstein.
Wow. Passionately curious.
That's it.
I love it. Well, good luck to your family tonight with all the sporting events, and certainly good luck to you in this new position, Director of Innovative Learning. Love the title, love the buckets description. So I wish you the best.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right. We're going to sign off here on the podcast. This is Creighton Jaster coming to us from LAMAR, Texas. If I can help you in any way, friends, don't hesitate to reach out at Andrew Murata 21. Thanks for supporting the podcast here. And like Creighton said, thanks for supporting education. Let's continue to uplift each other and bring in the respect to the profession that it deserves. So, Creighton, thanks, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
All right, man.